Zach, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm very happy you're here, man, and thank you for coming in during the pandemic.
Oh, of course. I know it's a scary situation, but I would risk anything to be here.
Listen to that malarkey. So before we start out, I just want to confirm that you and I are in separate rooms, correct?
Yes.
We are practicing social distancing.
Yes, I think I am alone. I hope.
Yeah, you are. Well, this is an old building.
Oh, man.
I'm not really sure. But you were show 77 today. You're going to be show, I think, 104. Yeah, 104 already.
Nice.
So last time you were here, we got a lot of your bio. So today I want to talk more about what's current with you, if we can.
That sounds good. Projects
you have going on. You've now become a multimedia
This is right.
local star here. So we're going to talk all about that. You also have a painting you brought with you, very similar to your last visit here.
Yes.
You had a painting on an easel.
I think I'm going to have to make it a tradition every time I come by. Just bring a painting.
I think so. And and it's great to have you as a regular guest. First and foremost, can we talk a little bit about and refresh our audience for those who haven't seen your first show? A couple of years ago, you came up with the campaign Spread Love Army, which centered around a particular logo is kind of a cheap way of putting it, but a design you created that kind of...
It's a symbol.
A theme that repeats throughout your work. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so talk a little bit about Spread Love Army.
Okay, so Spread Love Army is just a way to generate positivity in the city of Pittsburgh. You know, it's a call to action. It's a reminder to be good to each other. It's a simple image. It's a heart with a bunch of rays coming off, and the rays symbolize the love being spread. So when you see that heart driving around the city on a bus or on a bike or on a sticker on a stop sign, wherever you see it, it's a reminder to say, hey, things aren't so bad. I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to force myself to have a good day, or at least be nice to somebody else and let them have a good day. It's just a reminder that things aren't always going to be bad, and if they are bad, they're going to get better.
And you did this well before the pandemic. I mean, how many years has this campaign been in effect?
The Heart was created in 2017.
Okay.
The Spread Love Army came maybe a year later. Like I had the Heart as just a general painting in college. You know, I was like, oh man, I really like that image. That's a really nice, clean image. It makes me feel good. People were already telling me at the time it made them feel good. So I was like, how can we make this bigger, make this something people want to be a part of? And that's how the whole message and the movement started.
Let's talk about that movement. I think we did cover it last time too, but let's because I think it's an important part of your story. So you start, was it a very organic thing? Did the symbol start showing up in your work, and then was it requested? Because I know you've had some big commissions. You've painted at least one bus in Pittsburgh, correct?
Yes.
So, and I think you've done murals as well too.
Yeah, I got a couple in the bank now.
So, but that came with maybe a 6 months or a year after you launched it, or was there an official launch of it, or just it was just so organic it just kind of happened?
It just showed up and people started being a part of it, really. Like the original painting, I think I may have mentioned it a little bit in the first interview, which, hey, listeners, go listen to that interview.
It's episode 77, ericmckenna.com.
Great conversation we had back then, and I'm looking forward to finishing this one up too.
Absolutely.
So, 2017, I came up with the Heart as pretty much by chance, honestly. I was working on an image of two birds sitting on a wire, a common image that I've used over and over again since then.
Okay.
But I didn't fill the canvas up right. This was a college student that didn't know what composition meant. And there was this big empty area on the far side of the piece with just these little birds in the corner. And I was like, what could make this better? What could make those birds better? And what could cover my mistake up? And was the Heart that ended up being the Heart.
Okay. So it like a lot of art, I would imagine things happen by accidents, right?
Oh, all the time.
As Bob Ross would say, happy accident.
The happy accident. I have made some of the greatest work I've ever made off of a happy accident, and that is the truth. Definitely.
Do you remember any momentous day or particular moment where you looked at that and said, hey, something's happening with this symbol? Do you remember, like, when you realized, wow, this could be not only a good marketing opportunity for me, but a universal message? I'm going to brand it and run with it.
That is a great question, honestly.
Thank you. That's what we do here.
I never really thought about the moment when it really struck that it was something of power. It really, it is a power, and I want it to be its own thing. It's its own power for sure. So It's not even, it's me facilitating it, but it came from me for everyone. It's not mine.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that painting I did in college, I put on Facebook, and it was sold for a lot less than what my work sells for now. But at that time, someone saw it within 5 minutes of posting. Oh, I love this. And immediately after I gave the painting to her, she said, oh, the heart was what got me. The heart really got me. Right. And I've showed people that since, like, that photo at the time, since that sale and everything. I don't know. I just immediately seeing this woman jump on it, and she's like a family friend. Like, she knows, like, she's my mother's friend. So, would shout out my mom as well. You know, I got to take a
shout out to mom.
Mom knows who she is, and she wants to be my agent. She likes to tell people she's my agent. So, but her friend bought that piece, and it was very obvious that there was something there. There was something that made her feel really, really good about it, that where she needed it. Wasn't even questioning what it would cost to buy it, and wanted it. And I was like, I'm happy. That made me feel good. That made me feel really good. And me feeling good, making other people feel good. Like, it's just a
better art comes from that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, when you like what you do, the work's going to be there, and it's going to be better than that. So
how did the bus commission, the bus mural happen?
Oh, man.
How'd that come about?
I feel like I've just been living this life of Hail Mary passes. You know, you just throw it and hope for the best. And I did a painting on a piece of wood back in 2018 of a bus, put the hearts all over the bus, and then I posted it on Twitter and tagged Port Authority and said, hey, wouldn't the city look great with some traveling positivity? It was at a time in the city when things were happening, such as the Tree of Life, and a few big musicians had passed away at the time as well.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was just a little thing to do, just to say, hey, maybe they'll retweet it, maybe they'll like it, maybe they'll want to do something with it. I didn't even ever think they would want to do something with it. And the CEO, Catherine, messaged me a couple hours later and was like, hey, we love this idea. Let's sit and talk about how to make this a thing. And I was like, oh, like I said, I just wanted her to retweet the post. I didn't think anything of that was ever going to happen. And they've been great supporters since then. Port Authority, man, I owe them my life. They changed my life easily. They took that heart from being a little message I keep telling people with stickers to being a physical thing that drives around and spreads love for everybody. So
everybody wins there.
Absolutely.
I believe the citizens win by seeing this beautiful bus.
They tell me all the time. I get messages and photos and things where they're just like, I was sitting at work at the bus stop at 9 a.m, hating my life, and this big bright green thing with hearts all over it put a big old smile on my face, and I'm like, yes, that's what it was for. That's why I made it.
And the Port Authority wins too, because I think it's good for the community. It's good for their image. And of course, you win. It's a traveling marketing arm, and that's the beauty of art for artists that take their craft seriously. Is that work they do is a continual marketing arm. And I know that it's tough conversation sometimes with money and art. I get all of that. I'm a capitalist, so bear with me.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you agree? The work that you do is your greatest marketing asset.
Absolutely. You know, honestly, with the bus, though, initially, I wanted to give them the design. It didn't have my website on it or my signature. It just said Spread Love Bus with a bunch of little hearts, not even a big heart. Their marketing team said, Zach, we want you to own this. We want you to, or not own it, but they want me to have my name on it. So they were the ones that really opened up the door for marketing. I never even considered it at the time. I was like, I just need to get the heart in front of people. And they pushed the marketing side of it. But definitely, your work is only as successful as the amount of people that see it, I guess, is a good way to put it.
One of the things that gets asked a lot by non-artists, me included, is when an artist has a creation that they do on a 3x3 canvas, a design, and then they replicate that design on a massive scale, such as a building mural or the side of a building mural or a bus or something. It's hard, I think, for non-artists to understand how you can do the same design but in a bigger scale, because our minds can't get there. Does that make any sense? Like, it's painting in large scale and being able to translate that design in a larger way is just not a normal thing that a non-artist can wrap their head around. I don't think so. Definitely.
No, it's a lot to get used to. You know, I was always working in sketchbooks and doing drawings when I was growing up. So transitioning into giant paintings was such a struggle. And
okay, it was a struggle for you too?
Oh, absolutely. You know, like, it's really easy to do something that's the size of a Post-it note, but trying to take that same image of the Post-it note and blow it up on the side of a building, you're taking in a whole lot of other factors that you don't even think of at the time. You're just like, I need to paint. you're gonna let me paint your wall, I'll do it. And I saw that. I've done so many projects where I've gone into it like really hope this comes together. And just fear, not even knowing what's gonna happen. And then the more you do that, the more you get comfortable with it. It's more so just it's composition. It gets right back to that mistake I made in college. It's trying to use the space correctly and make it something beautiful.
When you're painting the side of a building, let's just take a mural let's just say a building mural.
Okay.
And you're using a design, and you have a reoccurring design, which is your symbol, Spread Love Army symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a matter of that you apply paint and then you step back to get like your bearings? You know what I mean? Like the look at it, the visual aspect of scale is such a hard concept for someone that's not an artist.
Definitely.
Right? I mean,
there is a lot of stepping back. Like I'll even use an example. I did a mural on Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill, right out front of Little Shoes. If you're in Pittsburgh, I'm sure you know what Little Shoes is. But they let me paint the front of their store with this nice long, I want to say maybe 50-foot mural of flowers and shoes, and it's colorful. But it's like 10 feet off the ground, so I'm going up and down a ladder over and over again just to step back across the street on Forbes and see everything, because you need to like soak it all up as each step's going. So I'll do a line, I'll do the black outline first, step back, okay, those lines look pretty good, that line doesn't look too good, I gotta fix that line up. And then you're layering, so you're able to make these corrections as you're going. So the more, like, it's very difficult to jump from little to big.
Well, just because there's more paint involved naturally, organic paint,
Definitely.
and there's more paint area to cover, it's going to take longer, certainly, than a smaller scale.
Definitely.
Right? But the other aspect is just, if you're sitting and you're painting, you're, visually, you're 2.5 feet from your work.
Mm-hmm.
You're not stepping back from it constantly. There's got to be that, it has to be so much more involved just mentally.
Oh, for sure.
Do something large scale like that.
Painting a mural, the one on the Little Shoes, that was a 7-day mural. So I did it from start to finish, 7 days.
Wow.
8 hours a day going up and down a ladder in I think early October that was last year. So it was even chilly too. So I'm coming in at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning and painting all day, freezing in the morning, the sun's coming up, then I'm sweating to death all afternoon, and then still going up and down a ladder, stepping back, looking at it, checking it out, coming back. And it's just it is mentally exhausting. At the end of those days, you're just like, oh man, I can't wait to close my eyes.
What time frame did it take you to complete the bus?
So the bus was actually really simple. I was like Port Authority took lead on that whole thing. It was actually a digital design. I didn't actually hand paint that bus. It was digitally designed.
So it's a wrap? It's a wrap?
Yeah, it's a professional vinyl wrap. Their thing was, we want to do this for the summer, see what, and just maybe rotate and maybe do some new art, maybe work with a new artist. That was initially what they had told me, because they were like, we love the idea, but we don't know how long it'll be around. So they didn't want me to paint a bus because they weren't sure how to unpaint the bus. So they gave me the software and the templates that they used to actually put the marketing on the side of their buses, and I hand designed it on the computer,
right,
and they vinyl wrapped it and did all that fun stuff.
Very cool.
I have done big vehicles since then. I did an RV. There's a video on YouTube. You actually check out the Spread Love RV.
I saw that.
That took 5 days in Virginia.
Wow.
So I mean, that's the same size as the bus. I mean, it might be 3 or 4 foot shorter than the bus, but it's the bus. That's the Spread Love RV. So that took 5 days. I try to get that stuff done as quickly as possible. My style, I think I simplified it really well, and that's what I want it to be. I want it to be a simple thing that I could put up without too much of exhaustion or anything like that. I want to get it done quickly. I kind of like the bragging right of being able to say, hey, I did that in a week.
Wow.
So
do me a favor, push that mic just maybe about an inch away from you. You don't have to move yourself.
Okay.
Just an inch.
A little bit better. I was putting it closer to my mouth. I didn't know how.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. No, your levels are good. I just don't want you
to
clip on me. Yeah, you're good. Perfect. But I want that excitement in your voice. I don't want you to change who you are into that microphone. That's why it's better to push the mic away.
Okay.
The bus itself, being a wrap, have they kept it on longer than you anticipated?
Absolutely. They said the summer of 2019. That's what they told me. And we are going on to the summer of 2020.
That's
so many people talk about that bus. It's been on the news. It's been everywhere. So I hope they keep it forever. But I'm great. I count the days down that it's still here. I love every bit of it, and I'm happy that I still have it.
Let's talk a little bit about a campaign you put together. I don't know what other word to use but campaign, where I think you even put it as a sale for a while. You use the word sale, which that's always interesting when an artist uses the word sale. Maybe we can talk about that.
Okay.
But you were incorporating digital art now and digital art output for clients.
Yes.
At extremely affordable prices and very, very nice work. So let's talk about that.
Thank you. Okay. So this is my Faceless Faces series, and it all revolves around the Spread Love Army. So these digital images are people that support my work, that like my work, that send me photos of their memories, of their family, of their pets, of things that make them happy, and I digitally draw them by hand, so they're not rendered on some software or anything like that. I use a company or an application, Procreate, and I hand draw each one of those on Procreate, colorize it. And digital drawing isn't too bad. I'm not hand drawing the background. You can change the background color like a flip of a switch. I'm uploading the rendered image of the heart already. So really the only energy that's coming from me is making sure that the people and the pets and the memories look as good as I possibly can. And stepping outside my comfort zone and experimenting with something I never really done before, I got an iPad for Christmas. So my fiance surprised me with this iPad for Christmas and was like, I'm sick of you borrowing mine for whatever you need it for. So I got you one. Merry Christmas. And it was a huge surprise. Did not know it was going to happen. And it changed my life because before that, I was using sketchbooks, drawing on paper 2 to 3 times a day. Right. And now, oh man, I could do 10 drawings in a day where I was doing 2 to 3 on paper. The technology is something that I was so skeptical of jumping into, and now that I've actually made the leap, I have a hard time getting away from it.
I think the technology's become amazing in the how you can really articulate now with a digital pen. It used to be big, thick black lines, and you really couldn't get narrow.
With a mouse. You remember
couldn't
Paint?
Do shading and all that. Yeah,
painting on the computer with a mouse.
Paint.
Oh yeah, Microsoft Paint. That was the earliest I've ever been painting with technology, and that's something every kid probably has a memory of.
Yeah. Can you actually do shading and so forth?
Dude, I could talk for 2 hours about just the app. Like they have a cover that you could put on your iPad that has the same consistency of paper. So when your pencil hits the page of the screen, it feels like you're drawing on paper. It's insane.
The actual feel?
Yes, the actual feel of holding the pencil in your hand, scraping off the screen. It's not smooth. It's not like before I put the screen on there, I hated it. But my fiance Jess found this screen that you can order on Amazon or Apple or whatever it is, and it's like the same consistency of drawing on paper. So
that's amazing.
Really, the only thing that was a hiccup at first was getting used to the touch of the stylus, like holding the pencil and how it's insane what you can do. The pencil, how hard you hold it is how big the line will go. You can you could turn the pencil sideways and shade sideways. It's like a real brush. They have pencils, pencils, paintbrushes, inking tools, all these different softwares. It's just a push of a button.
Incredible.
Instead of me having to go to my drawer, pull it out, set up that setting for the day, markers, color pencils, paint brushes, which I've done all that stuff, and that's why I know how important this technology is now. I'm like, I don't have to do any of that stuff. I got a whole corner of my studio that I haven't touched because I don't need it anymore right now.
The Faceless concept is very unique to you.
Thank you.
When did that hit you? When did that idea come? Do you remember when it came?
So, I mean, I've done plenty of like portraits of faces in college and stuff like that, and like I spent a lot of time my sophomore junior year of college trying to get really perfect, like as perfect as I could as an artist, with capturing someone's likeness, shading, shadows, all that stuff, and taking the face away. It raised more questions, and I love that. It made people be like, can you make a full face? Why are you doing the faceless thing? And I always tell them, the emphasis is on the smile. That's the thing that I keep, and that's what at the core of the Spread Love Army, it's positivity. So when you take away the eyes, you take away the nose, you're left with that smile, you're left with that positivity, and it's an immediate reminder of that good moment. And Spread Love Army.
The Spread Love Army symbol, are you very specific on the color scheme there, or are you able to let clients change the color scheme? Are you flexible in that regard?
No one's ever asked to change the heart. I mean, I've only ever changed it once. It's always been red. The only time I ever changed it was when I live painted at Pride Fest last summer. I did a rainbow heart. It was the first time ever. The full Pride flag going across the heart.
I saw some still photos from you doing that.
Yeah. So that was the only time it's ever been any other color. I've thought about doing the black and gold. I've thought about doing some Pittsburgh Spread Love hearts. I've thought about St. Patty's Day green. I've thought about stuff like that. But I'm sticking to the heart right now because was keeping it the way it is right now because it's working. You know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And then the day that I do actually decide to change and alter it, people are going to be like, finally, yay, yes, that's awesome.
All right, well, talk more about this series. So how do you price this workout? Is it based on size, on time? How's it done?
So that was the sale that I was doing initially. That was the whole month of April.
Mm-hmm.
The sale has since ended, but I am still taking on digital drawing requests. But the sale was a month long. It was $20 per face. So every face in the drawing, they were all standard sizes. You knew you were going to get a solid color background with just the heart and no face. So that's how I was justifying it. Some people got one face at $20. They were $20 a piece.
Right.
And some people got. I had a client actually request 12 of her dogs. On one little 5x5. So yeah, so they all vary in complexity and imagery. I've done the closest one to 5 or to 12 dogs was the Grateful Dead. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm working on a Grateful Dead Faceless Faces digital drawing. I got 118 commissions off of this sale. So many people saw it and was like, oh yeah, I love that. I want to support, and that's one thing I love. I was so grateful to see the community's response to creatives at this time right now. You know, I know a lot of people that actually saw an increase in their work and their sales because people thought about us, and I was shocked to find out, dude. That was another Hail Mary pass in March. I was worried about paying April's bills. You know, I was like, I made all my money off of events, and I still hope to do that once things go back to normal. So I had 15 plus events that I was set to work from March, April, May, and June has all been canceled as well. Painting events, festivals, fundraisers. That's my money. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I make my living. And it canceled. It got all shut down. So I was like, what can I do? How can I adapt? I can't go deliver DoorDash, or I can't let this fail. I need to do something. And that was my Hail Mary, where I was like, I got this iPad. I've been doing some digital sketches to prep for paintings already. Like I had been working December, January, February, trying to learn the software and stuff. And it just ended up, I was sitting on my couch ready to cry. And I was like, how can we make this better? And that ended up that was the thing. And people have been so responsive.
So the 5x5, do you print that out? Do you email the file to them? How's that work?
I'm happy you asked. Let me take a swig of water real quick.
Absolutely.
So I owe my life to a man named Josh Schneider. He owns Flower City Printmaking in Bloomfield. They actually have a second store that opened up, I think, on Butler Street in Lawrenceville, but Bloomfield's been my store. They do all of my printing. They are a professional printmaking or printing company. Their doors are still open. They're doing online orders only and carry out and curbside delivery, or curbside and free delivery. So they do all of the prints. I've actually been sending them 10 to 15 prints every single week since I started the sale.
Wow.
And they get them back to me in 3 days.
Wow.
So, and then I hand frame them myself, because I like I told you last time I was here, I worked at Michael's Arts and Crafts. So
you figured that out.
Yep, I know a lot about framing. So I frame each one myself, and then once it's taped up, ready to go, I give it a little kiss and fold it up and send it to the mail. You know, that's another baby off to its new home. So,
well, the piece you gifted me when you were here last time, I want to bring it on camera. I have it.
Oh, awesome!
Right here, if I can reach it. Is this an example of a 5x5?
Yep, that is a 5x5. Your frame is a lot different than the other ones. I did you up a real nice frame with the double matting.
I'm
and
aware.
Yeah, but that is a 5x5 G-clay print from Flower City Printmaking. And funny enough, the piece that I brought with me today is actually a G-clay print that's behind me over my shoulder. That is also a Flower City Printmaking G-clay print. They do stretch canvases, they do paper prints, and they even do my stickers. They do my Spread Love stickers. They do everything for me. They're great, and I'm happy that their doors are still open too.
If a client loved it so much and they wanted to purchase a bigger print from you, that's possible.
Yes,
correct?
Absolutely. Funny enough, the Grateful Dead piece is going to be larger. She was like, "I love it, but can we do it on a canvas?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely. You know, that's not a problem. We can make that happen."
Well, I really dig this, and it was funny because it's a boxing, it's a photo, but there's a Spread Love Army behind it. So it's like an oxymoron. It's a different symbolism there.
That's
which is kind of groovy.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. that piece is called Fighting for What You Love. So I love the narrative and the irony of that. That's the whole Spread Love Army. You're fighting in an army against hate. Like, those things don't really make sense when you say it out loud.
Right.
But it works. People are loving it.
Yeah, it's a great one, and then it's an important part of our motif in here. So I appreciate it.
Honestly,
very
I
much.
got a sad story a little bit for. So the Fighting for What You Love, the piece was on display at my show I had in February for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
It was purchased, and I'm sad to say that the person that purchased the photo actually did recently pass away due to COVID-19.
Oh
so,
my.
Yeah, so I just want to say I'm thinking about them and the family all the time. And it's just,
Absolutely.
It's something that came to mind that's a current event related to what's going on in the world. So this is a very serious thing, and I have been affected by it personally. And that is he just recently in February purchased the Fighting for What You Love piece from me, and it's
Wow.
tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it's just, and there's a lot of people dealing with some extremely, maybe not exactly what you described, but the virus has affected a lot of people. And I think when it's all said and done, all of us are gonna know somebody that was affected in some capacity medically.
Definitely.
So you can order them bigger, correct? And then obviously they're uniquely priced according to size and so forth, and what you want to do, based upon what you have
For the prints,
labor that you have in, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I could see where some people liking it so much, but it's America. People want big stuff.
And then I urge them to get an original painting. It's time. That's where I thrive, is a big painting. I need a big old canvas. So if you like the prints and you want to get a print, put the extra money in and let's do a full painting. I'll paint your whole house. You want a mural?
I'll paint your whole house.
Let's go big.
Okay, so the style that you have, is there a direct influence when you were in college or you were coming up? Is this all you, or did you see? Because I like to think that there's a lot of originality with you, like almost all of it. But was there anyone that influenced you at all, style-wise? Like, I know we talked last time that Keith Haring had a unique style, different, but there was vibes of it.
Yeah. What I liked about Keith Haring, he actually has a heart that he did that inspired my heart directly. So when I say Keith Haring, it's the Spread Love heart. It's the sun heart. Directly is his inspiration. Other artists that really inspired me was like Roy Lichtenstein, who's a pop artist. A lot of pop artists really.
That was very popular in the 80s. His work was, I think I might have had some prints.
Really?
That Nagel, remember Patrick Nagel?
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with him as well. Yeah, the very cartoony, very comic book. No way. That's history, man. That's art. People should know who these guys are, definitely.
Right
but I mean, Warhol is another one. Like I said last time on the show, I have an art history background as well. I have a fine art degree and an art history minor, so I love learning about history. I love looking into it. I mean, even the collaging of the comic books relates back to Picasso. In the early 1900s, Picasso actually invented collaging, gluing paper onto canvases. So like, I looked at all of art history and tried to see and take what I thought would help and try and make it my own as well,
And what he's talking about, you'll need to go back and see the painting that he brought with him last show 77, ericmckenna.com, or Facebook, find us there. But in that painting that was here last time, that was real striking to me, that in the background, done in a collage fashion, was pages of comic books.
Yep. Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. I mean, if we can't zoom in or anything, but even on the G-Clay prints, even on your G-Clay print, you should be able to get close enough to see the comic books in the background. The digital ones don't.
So you do them with every piece?
Yeah, every piece. So that's a print of a painting.
Every piece?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay, I did not know that.
every single piece I do, I mean, unless otherwise requested. I started a YouTube channel. One of the episodes that is going to be dropping this week.
We're going to get there.
Oh yeah. One of the episodes I dropped this week is one of the first times I didn't do comic books, actually. So someone asked me to do the Spread Love heart with the Love Bust green background, no comic books, and I was like, oh wow, this is
Different.
This is different. Yeah, it was neat. It was cool to do at multiple coats because usually I'd have to dilute it to be able to see the comic books underneath. So this time I'm painting like a house painter. I'm doing a coat, letting it dry, taking a sip of my beer, and going right back to the painting. So it's fun.
So how did that idea of the comic book? I mean, you mentioned where it came from, where the comic books came from, the history of comic books, but when did you determine that you were going to incorporate comic books in your backgrounds?
Okay. So I did a trip to London back in 2017. I did a series of things called art drops where I was taking art with me and leaving them in these different tourist places I got to travel as like a scavenger hunt. and everyone was rolled up like a treasure map. You have to untie a ribbon, open it up. There's a painting and then a note on the front that says, "Hey, my name's Zachary. Congratulations, you just found some art." And I did 35 paintings for that trip.
That's pretty cool.
In under a month and a half. There's a whole YouTube video. There's a 35-minute YouTube video called The London Art Drop, Zachary Rutter Art. And
so what is your YouTube channel? So the
Zachary Rutter Art. Dude, you can find me. You did it. The www.zacharyrutterart.com. Check the website out. Art drops are there. Love Bus is there, and prints and merch are there.
It's all there.
Yep. But you could Google that, and you'll find the love art, spread love. No, not even spread love. Just
art
the London
drop.
Art Drop. Yeah, London Art Drop.
London Art Drop.
Yeah, but that was actually the original time I used the comic book. So what I did is, like I said, under a month and a half I had to get 35 paintings done, which I didn't have to. This was me doing this for myself, and this was a school trip, so I was going through my university.
Right.
And
push that mic just back a little bit.
Yeah, I keep moving closer to it.
I love when you get excited. I don't want you to change anything about that. I just want to make sure you don't blow me out over here.
That's okay. I do apologize. But,
no, you're good. You're good.
But so a month and a half was not enough time to paint 35 paintings. So like a week before the trip, I'm grabbing glue, I'm grabbing anything I can find. I'm like, that whole area's not done, throw a comic book on there. That whole area's not done, throw a comic book on there. Okay, all right. So that was very different, very very rough attempt at the comic books, and that trip was so successful. I took 35 pieces. 28 people reached out to me, said, "Hey, I found your work from 5 different continents." So people from London, from Germany, from Finland, from Italy. I have messages and posts that all these people sent to me of finding this stuff, and that was what inspired the comic book. Since then, I've revamped it. I do the entire background with comic books. So it was more so not having enough time to get a thing done, finding a way to adapt and overcome that problem, and here we are now.
What a unique idea, though. I mean, that's. I mean, yes, the collage concept is not yours, but it's. Wouldn't you say it's a trademark of yours almost now? I mean, it's you made it your own.
Definitely, yeah. And like the comic books, I think I may have talked last time. The comic books have their own message as well. Like the comic books are always negativity.
Choose the pages too.
Yes, yeah. Well, okay. I choose what I'm going to put on there, but there's no specific order once it's being glued. Okay. They're images of violence, sadness, pain, suffering. It's negativity on the background, and then we paint something colorful and positive and beautiful on the surface. So there's another message with the comic books as well.
The art drop, where'd that come from? The idea of doing that?
So I used to work with an artist in the city as his apprentice, and he does art drops all throughout Pittsburgh. And at the time, I asked him, I've never done one in Pittsburgh. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. I've never done one in the city of Pittsburgh. But I was going on this trip through my university, which I've gotten to take several different trips. I've been to London, Paris, Italy, and I did art drops at every single one of them. And I just asked, "Hey, I'm going to do this art drop. Do you mind?" And he said, "Absolutely not. That's not my idea. That's just something I rolled with." And I took one of his pieces too. So technically I took 36 pieces, hung his up one somewhere, took a photo and sent it to him, and then 35 of my own. And that's how it started, was learning from an artist that was teaching me what he knew and applying that to myself.
Right. Had to be pretty thrilling, though, to get an email or a correspondence from someone who found that art.
We had to translate
seeing how excited they were.
Definitely. I had one that was in German that I had to translate on Google Translate and then respond through Google Translate. So it's phenomenal. I couldn't believe how successful that was. And like I said, there's a whole 35-minute documentary. My fiance went with me. We both went to the same university, Slippery Rock. Go Rock.
Right on.
But
right on.
Yeah, that whole video series is just something. We actually just watched it the other day because we're revamping our YouTube page for that new series I started, and it just brings back memories. It's more of a travel blog as well. So you go through, you watch the trip, we go through all the different art museums. It was an art history trip, so we learned about the city. We checked it out.
Very cool.
We left paintings at Big Ben, Westminster Abbey, in front of the Rosetta Stone, everywhere in London. I left a painting on London Bridge, at the Tower of London, everywhere. It was a great trip. The video highlights everything. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Funny enough, actually, the whole video highlights all the street performers we saw throughout the entire trip. Every single time we saw one, I made it a case to stop, tip them. Yeah, buskers, exactly. Busking. I've done it in Pittsburgh actually, but I made sure to tip every busker we passed because change is how Europe works. It's all metal coins, and every scene starts and ends with a different street performer performing and me tipping them. And one of the underground performers, I actually put a painting in his case and left some tip with it.
How cool is that?
Didn't say a single word to him, walked away. And when he opened it up, he would see that whole note that says, "This is who I am, this is what I did." They're all numbered 1 through 35. So it was such a magical trip. That was back in 2017 too. So that was before the heart was made. That was pre-heart. And then the heart came after that.
Do you have the compunction to do it again, possibly in Paris this time? Or
we've done it in Paris.
Spain,
we've done it in Italy. There's only a London video and an LA video.
Okay.
I've done it in New York. I've done
Okay.
it in Philly. These aren't. It's funny because I kind of dove straight into the Spread Love Army and studios and
Right.
friendship stuff, which we'll talk about studio friendship as well.
We're gonna go.
But I kind of put the art drops in the back burner a little bit, so I haven't had a chance to talk about
they're
these in
an
a while.
expense too. I mean, you got to travel and you
yeah.
got to do that, as opposed to it takes away from your core business.
That was the best part of my education, was taking full advantage of the traveling. And when I saw the opportunities that presented themselves, I thought, wow, this is a chance for me to leave my art, my mark in these places I may never ever go again, because it was through a school trip. And my professors all knew about it. It was with the art department. So my professor Como talked about the trip the whole time. He's like, "Zach, here, that's a pretty good spot over there for you to leave your art. What do you think of that? Hey, did you leave it? Did they take it? Did someone pick it up?" He was so encouraging of the idea the whole time. He's like, "Just don't get arrested. Don't go to jail. I don't care."
Don't loiter and don't get accused of littering, right?
Yep. There was a couple times when we got into some situations in museums. Like I said, I left one in front of the Rosetta Stone.
How about that?
You leave a long cylindrical thing anywhere, people are like, "Oh gosh, what is this? Oh my goodness."
Yeah, it's a different world. Yeah, so right, especially in the last 20 years or so.
Absolutely,
for certainly.
Yeah. But yeah, check out YouTube. You can see the London art drop. That's 35 minutes. The LA art drop we did was the Los Angeles art drop. I took 12 paintings, and that's about 7 minutes on YouTube. You can see that whole thing. That one had a different message. We were actually trying to spread a message about driving awareness, safe driving. The painting I did was a giant 4 foot by 4 foot painting of a man in a car accident with his hand on his cell phone, and I cut that giant painting up into 12 pieces.
Wow.
And rolled each 12 up. So everyone got a little abstract piece of a bigger picture with a message that said, "Don't text and drive." 500,000 people a year die from driving while texting, and all these different things. And we tried to make that a positive message while also making it a travel blog. Like, you go through, you see we are at Venice Beach, the Santa Monica Pier, Hollywood Boulevard, everywhere. And
all the spots in LA.
Yeah, it's spreading love. It's showing culture. It's being one with people somewhere else that I've never been.
I think you like synergy, huh? You like to be doing something. I think
you said that last time too, with the same words.
Yeah, I think you do. I think
I love it.
I think that you enjoy the synergistic way of living, where you bring various aspects of your life together, but also various experiences, all with one common goal.
You know, I think
is that a good way of putting it?
Absolutely, that was a perfect way to put it. Absolutely, I think that's the message of life. You know, how many times has serendipity happened to us in our lives, or deja vu, where we're like, "Wow, this feels like this happened already," or "This is supposed to happen," or "Why does this connect to that?" or "How come I know your grandmother?" And like, it's like everything's connected. And I think that's another core value of the Spread Love Army, is to show like you can everything intertwines. It all comes full circle. You know, and that's how I try to live my life. If I can make, at the core, it's art. It's me making art. But if I can make those connect, bring smiles to people's faces, as well as push my message and my art as well, I'd love it.
So you've been dabbling in video and video presentations and storytelling for a couple of years now.
Yeah, with no love. My YouTube subscriber list is very short.
Well,
but
YouTube is extremely difficult. I've recognized, even promoting the show on YouTube, it's going to be a slow process. Where Facebook video and the interconnectivity of Facebook we're a Facebook show. That's what we are.
Yeah.
And that's been explosive for us.
Yeah.
Explosive. So we have that, but YouTube's its own different, unique animal. So I feel your pain.
Definitely. Honestly, that's kind of inspiring me right now. Just the wheels are turning as you're talking, to maybe even move that channel onto Facebook a little bit more as well. I post the link to the YouTube on my Facebook, but maybe even just releasing that footage on there too. But
you can do it both ways. I mean, we release Facebook video, we release YouTube, and then we connect one of those two streams to our website. So there's multiple ways to get the show.
Cool.
But the Facebook is so it's just that's our animal. We are a Facebook show. For better or worse, that's what we are. It's an option though. But YouTube in general, you've been on YouTube and doing storytelling and creating content for a couple years.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That actually is a great transition or segue to the studio friendship stuff. So
absolutely.
YouTube, I honestly, I see the importance of video. You know, I see the importance of documenting what we're doing, what everyone's doing. I love what you've got going on, man. You're talking to people that most people maybe would never have a chance to hear or listen to
Sure.
or talk about. And I think it's great to do that type of stuff. So with Studio Friendship, we're working with different musicians in the city, and I'm mixing my art with their music. So they come to my studio space, which they haven't. It's been postponed due to everything, but we are still releasing some of the footage that we recorded before it. But they come to my studio space. They do 2 songs, an original song and a cover song, all in the duration of while I create a painting. So
Very cool.
yeah, and I do that with my buddy Benton Palermo. He's another Slippery Rock graduate, and he does all the video editing on that and all the stuff behind the scenes on there, and we've been pushing that forever. You're completely right. YouTube is its own monster, and it takes a while. We're nowhere at your numbers yet, man. You got 104 today? Is that where we're at? I
don't even pay enough attention to YouTube. I should, but I don't. It's never been a driver for the show, whereas Facebook has just driven this show. So I probably should pay more attention to YouTube, and I probably will over time.
That'll grow. That'll happen.
I was also told, too, that Facebook drives on content. So the more content you put up and the consistency of the content, I'm sorry, YouTube, rather. YouTube is looking for consistent, viable content.
Okay.
And the more that you put in your channel, the more they'll proliferate it. I don't know. Who knows what the algorithms are? But Facebook's been, I can only speak from our standpoint, Facebook's been phenomenal.
There you go. Yeah, no. I've been trying to dabble with a little bit of everything. Like I said, we've got Studio Friendship as a YouTube channel. I have my own personal YouTube channel, Zachary Rutter Art, and I am trying to put more content out on YouTube. I'm doing a weekly series now, Studio Time with Zac.
Right.
So that's another...
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's another look into my life, into my work, into how I create all my pieces. I have 2 episodes out now. This is a brand new show I just started due to quarantine.
It's well done, my friend.
Thank you. That's all hand edited. So you can compare that to Studio Friendship, and you can go look at what Studio Friendship is, because that's a real video platform. Benton is a professional and one of the best. So I'm trying to take what I've learned just from being around him and doing it all on my iPhone. I shoot every Studio Time with Zac on my iPhone.
How cool is that?
Edit it on my iMovie. It's the best, man. We live in a time right now where everything is possible, and if you think it's not, that's you telling yourself it's not, because everything's possible.
Or you haven't tried.
Yep. Yeah. Trying and failing is the quickest way to learn.
No question. So what's your goal for that show?
With Studio Time with Zac? I think showing people the simplicity that can come with art. You know, I want people to see that I did struggle, and it was hard to get here, but I want you to see how much fun I'm having at the same time. I want you to be able to be a part of the creation of the work, you know? It started as a quarantine thing. Like, Studio Time with Zac was me not being able to go live paint at shows and not be around people, so I started the channel. And I'm paying homage to some YouTube artists that are out there. There's already blogs that do something similar to that, like 1000s. He's got like 400,000 followers, and he does art videos weekly. So I want to try and take a little bit of that, do my own art series weekly, Studio Time with Zac, to let people see, hey, you can make art. It's not that hard. Everyone's a lesson. So the one that I have, episode 2, is how to paint on top of comics. So I go over my entire process and show you guys, hey, this is me doing it, man. You guys can learn it too. It's real easy.
And see, I think the public loves that stuff. One thing I learned many years ago in business, whether it was music and guitars, the custom, the unique stuff, we crave it, and that's a great. I think it has a lot to do with being American, being in the land of plenty. You know, we love the unique stuff.
Yeah,
and what
it's
you're
even
doing
more
is
primal than that, man.
It's a unique experience as you're giving.
Definitely. I'm happy you say that. You know, that's what the digital Faceless Faces, that's a collaboration. You know, that's someone sending me their memory and their image, and we're making that together. I would never have made that piece of art without their help, so they help me just as much as I help them, and we're collaborating. That's us coming together.
Yeah, no question about that. When we talk about Studio Time with Zac, is it going to evolve, or do you kind of have a goal in mind of where you'd like to see that go?
I don't really necessarily have a goal, and I think that's why I like that so much. Like, we know what our goal is with Studio Friendship. Our goal is to showcase the up-and-coming talents of Pittsburgh, art, music, bring people together. Studio Time with Zac is me doing what I'm already doing. You know, I'm filming episode 2 is a private commission. It's a piece I was already going to do, but now I'm showing you guys how I make that piece and a little bit more about that. So it's growing each episode. The next episode is a little bit different than the one before that. Like I said, the episode 3 that drops this week is me painting with no comic books. So now I like the thrill of trying to do something in a week, making it unique and a little different than the last one, while still keeping the humor and having fun with it, you know? So it's growing. I don't want to have an end goal in mind with it.
Let's talk about specific materials for a second. Mia Tarducci has been on the show multiple times, and she is a traditional oil paint. She paints with oil. She's emphatic about it. I think Blick is one of the companies and some other company. Do you paint now? Obviously, the digital was created digitally, and then it's printed by your printer.
Yeah.
If you're going to do an actual painting for somebody, what kind of materials do you use?
So it starts with the frame, the canvas, whatever it is. I've painted on wood, I've painted on cardboard, I've painted on canvas, I've painted on cars. It starts with that. Whatever the surface is, that's where it starts. Then I take the comic books, I glue the comic books, and then so it's canvas, it's comic books, it's glue, and then it's paint. And I traditionally stick to acrylic paint when I use actual art paint, but I'm a house paint guy. I go to Lowe's and I'll buy a gallon.
How cool is that?
Of house paint and use that, and then I'll put a clear coat or a resin top on top of that, and it shines like a diamond. So
yeah, so you're obviously more flexible in the materials that you're going to use.
That is the struggle of a poor artist. you work with what you got.
Do you find any noticeable difference between oil and acrylic and house paint?
Oh yeah. I mean, I have a ton of house paint, but I also have $20 tubes of white paint and black paint. There's certain paint I have to get the good stuff. Like there's a noticeable difference. There's a fading over time. Okay. So there are reasons. There's a reason that it's so expensive. There's a reason for the upcharge. So I try to balance it both, but I'm more so cost effective. I want to make it as affordable as possible while maintaining the quality and giving them a good piece of work. So,
you painted on cardboard.
Oh yeah, actually, that piece still looks just as good as the day I did it. Oh, you put a clear coat over top of it, and then I framed it. It has a nice gold frame on it with glass clear coat resin top on it. You would never have known it was cardboard if I didn't tell you.
Very cool.
I don't know.
Very cool.
That was done maybe 2 years ago. I'm wondering what the longevity is. I've only been doing art professionally for going on my second year, but I've been doing it for 5-10 years, and I don't know what the longevity of that work is. I haven't seen the earlier stuff when I was really, really poor and using what I could from college. So now I'm using the better stuff and seeing a noticeable difference. Like the piece from 5 years ago maybe isn't as bright as the piece I just did today, or things like that I'm preventing for work down the road. So it's just experimenting, exploring with different products and sources and all that stuff too.
So let's see if I can phrase this correctly from the non-artist here. So the archival quality of your work is undetermined.
The previous work. Now we're getting to that point of archival quality where I do know what I'm doing. I've worked at the Carnegie Museum a little bit. I worked at Michael's a little bit, and then I've done my own research online. So I'm fully invested in giving people work that's going to last well over my lifetime. Now, as a college student, you're just like, make the work, try and sell the work, pay the bills. Now it's like, okay, now I got to think a little bit further down the road, because now the money's going up too. People are paying more money for the work. I can't have them getting the same thing an 18-year-old Zach would have painted now, so it's growing.
Talk a little bit about your movement into providing giclée options.
Giclée, I love it.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Giclée. No, it's giclée.
That's probably what I called it years ago.
That's what I called it at first too. So that started with Josh Schneider at Flower City. For a while I was going to like Kinko's and just getting my print orders done and doing them like that. And then I met him, and I met him through an art collective called Red Fishbowl. He does work for a lot of artists. He's the print guy in the city of Pittsburgh. I don't care who you are. He's the print guy. He's the one that said, "Hey man, you ever thought about doing something different than a laser jet printer piece?" He's like, "I got this thing. It's giclée." Well, he emailed it to me first, so I read it. I'm like, giclée? I've never heard of a giclée.
It sounds like a breath mint or something.
Yeah, it does, or bubble gum or something. But I walked into the studio or to his office the first time I picked my print orders up, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm here for my giclée pieces," and he's like, "It's pronounced giclée. It's museum quality archival paper." It sounds good too, when you tell somebody they're getting a print of a piece that's a giclée art museum quality piece, like it's good to know the better quality stuff. And then even when we spoke last time on your show, you were showing me was it Paul Stanley's giclée painting that you have, and
it's hand enhanced.
It's great. It's that was a changing moment in my life too. So yeah, absolutely, because now I offer the stretched canvas prints, which you could see above my shoulder here, of the Spread Love bus.
Right on.
Yeah, so a funny story about this piece here. This painting was done for the Port Authority CEO for her office. So the original piece is a 3 foot by 3 foot painting that hangs in her office at Port Authority.
Cool.
Yeah, they did that after the bust. They were like, we got the bust. Now we want to commission some art for you. They have kept me fed for quite a while, man. I love those guys. So.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. And that's just a smaller version. That's a giclée version of the original.
Yep, and the giclée versions, they are able to come hand embellished as well. Like, or would you say hand embellished?
I don't know. Explain what that is, though.
Okay, so that is where you're getting a print. You know it's a print. It's a replication of a different piece. So the hand embellishment is me taking paint and applying it to the surface to make it more original. With these ones, I'll touch up the hearts on the bus, and you're getting the hand embellished sun hearts on the print of the love bus on the bridge.
Very cool.
So it's just taking a little extra step to make it more personal and more unique, and adding an actual artistic element to it. Whereas like it's just, if I didn't do that, it would just be a print of the original piece, and I'll still sign it, but
sure,
it's an extra step, an extra little piece to make it more yours,
Absolutely, and I think it adds a level of additional authentication.
Yeah,
I mean, everything's authentic, but it's just there's a part of you there.
Definitely. I mean, other than that, you could just print out 100,000 of those prints and just throw a fake signature on there. It's another layer to kind of prevent replication outside of me.
Right. So example would be in 2006 when I acquired the Stanley print. It was a giclée. And there was, I think, 3 options. You could buy the original for $80,000 or $150,000.
Oh, that little? That's not that much.
Back then, I don't know what they are now. Or you could purchase a giclée for whatever the price was, or you can get a hand-enhanced giclée, which Paul had gone on and he'd spend 15, 20 minutes doing his thing on. And there was an upcharge for that, but it was worth it to me because I could never afford the original. I think the original had already been sold anyways for this particular piece, but getting that hand-in-hands version there's a level of realness that I think a standard print just doesn't give you.
Definitely. It's special. It's yours,
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's neat. And that's something that kind of I learned from Michael's framing. When I worked at the frame shop, the upcharge, like start them high and work them down low was kind of how they worked on the framing. Like you could go to the $1,000 gold frame with 3 different matting colors for that amount of money, or you could say, okay, well, if you don't like that gold frame, we got this gold frame that's a little less expensive. Oh, okay, we'll take a matting off. Okay, it's even less. So having those tiers, that's for the artists out there trying to work and looking for ways. Like, just give them a variety. Make it something
options, choices.
Yes, exactly. So
then the client or the customer, and I think in your field they call them patrons.
Patrons is a good one. I call them clients, or I call them friends. Hopefully,
absolutely, absolutely. They will make their determination what they want, but it really helps if they have options, right?
Yep. Definitely. And look, people don't know what they want. That's the best thing, is like giving them something where they're like, hey, Zach, I want art. And I'm like, that is a very broad thing to say.
I want some art.
Yeah, hey, dude, I like your art, man. You want to make me some art? That's the scariest thing. When someone comes to me and they say, hey, dude, I don't care what you make me, just make me some art and I want it. And I'm like, I'm having a mental breakdown. I'm like, oh no, he wants my art. Like, I don't know what to do.
Well, it's such a wide. I mean, what do you say to that? Really? Yeah. I mean,
you go right down to the options. You say, okay, well, I paint pretty ladies, I paint pets, I paint families, I paint bridges and birds and dogs and cats, and like, then they're like, oh, okay, I like dogs, I like cats, I like bridges. All right, well, now we're getting the conversation going.
I want one of each.
I've had it happen where you bite off way more than you can chew.
Talk a little bit about our mutual friend, Dr. Steve Green.
Okay.
His mission, Hofer, Ghana.
The honorary Steve Green. He is.
He's been on this show, and we expect his. I want to put it out there. I'd like to have you and him on once we get past this pandemic and we're able to be close to each other and all sit in the same room.
Absolutely.
Love to have both of you on because you're connected with him on some work you were going to do, and if I'm not incorrect, you were going to take a trip with him. You were going to accompany him on one of his scheduled trips to Ghana, which this pandemic unfortunately upset.
Postponed it, yeah. No, it's still going to happen. Like I said before we started recording, my bags are still packed. Steve's bags are still packed. Even he messaged me recently and was just like, my bags are right up against the front door waiting for us to go. So those are his words.
How'd you meet Steve? Did you meet him through, because we all have we have mutual friends, and Chris has been an amazing mutual friend to both of ours. It seems to be the connective point for so many people.
That is absolutely how I met Steve. And
Chris, you're something else, pal.
Oh, he's a connector, man. He puts the right people in front of each other is the way to say
He
it.
does.
You know? And Steve is one of the right people. You know, I met Steve as a way to get involved with his charity event he does, the golf outing every summer. I was going to donate some work to that. So he's like, let's meet up and have some coffee. Me, him, and Chris went and had some coffee. And we start talking. He's telling me about Hope for Ghana. He's telling me about how he goes 2 to 3 times a year to Ghana to visit this place and help there. Right. And I was like, you know, I've always wanted to do something like that. I had a couple family members that have gone to like Jamaica to build houses and things with their churches and stuff. And I'm not a religious person, so I never thought of trying to do something with a church or something, but I always wanted to do that. I have a technical background. I've done construction, and I have a trade school certification as well. So I was like, Steve, I'd love to come help you build the water wells, put up a wall, paint something.
Absolutely.
He said, man, you're an artist, man. Like, I'd love for you to come do a mural. and that's how it was like, whoa, I could go to Africa with you and paint a mural on your schoolhouse you just built. Absolutely, count me in, you know. And we were gung-ho and excited to go until the day they shut the thing down. Until this day they stopped letting in people at the airport. So
when you got the word, how close was your flight in terms of days?
Steve was meant to leave the next morning. He was leaving the next morning, going to the airport the very next day.
So you guys were going on different days.
Oh yeah, he was going for 4 weeks total. I was coming at the end of his second week.
Okay.
So he was going to be there already, doing the groundwork, making sure the supplies that I needed were there.
Right.
And that all ended up being postponed. But we look at it as a blessing. You know, it could have been us getting stranded there with no understanding of the world. I mean, I was very worried because Steve is someone that's new in my life, and I love him and trust him now, but you never know when the world's coming to an end what might happen. So we were all terrified. My family was telling me every day, cancel the trip, and I was like, I will be in Ghana if they let me in Ghana. I'm going no matter what. I'm going to be there. And unfortunately, the prime minister or the president of Ghana put out an address to the nation a few hours before Steve was supposed to get on the plane.
It's life, and we're gonna get through it, and you're gonna make your trip there, and you're gonna paint that mural. There's no question in my mind.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about your feelings for Dr. Steve, and I want to share mine as well too. Amazing man.
He's positive energy, man. He's what the Spread Love Army embodies in a real human being. You know,
great way of putting it.
I've never seen someone so happy, so giddy. He's a pediatrician, so he's making kids better. He's making the world better, and then on top of doing that for however many years he's been a doctor, he takes the time out to go to Africa and go to Ghana and do this, and he's been doing that for 30 plus years. That man doesn't stop, and he's got a heart of gold, and I appreciate knowing him and calling him a friend.
Yeah, and if you want to learn more about Dr. Green and his work, I don't know the number of the show, but you can go back and check ericmckenna.com or our Facebook page for the Eric McKenna Project.
There you go.
Search Dr. Green, and I had a joyous 2+ hours with him here at Boogie Street, learning all about his biography, his story, his practice, and most importantly, this amazing work he's done with Ghana. I was so compelled. I was so compelled by that story and so moved that I reached for my checkbook the moment the show was over. I wanted to do something. You know?
Yeah, he has a way of doing that, man. He brings the best out in everybody that comes around him. What else can you say? He's even still doing work for Ghana now with coronavirus and COVID-19. And he is sending Hope for Ghana care packages out regularly of hand sanitizer, masks, clean water, things that they need to wash their hands and stay healthy. So he's still fully involved from the United States. Like, he's still sending these things, and they're nicely packaged with the Hope for Ghana label on them. He's putting the money into it to make sure these guys are being well off during this global pandemic.
In that show, Dr. Green will explain the original mission that he was on with Ghana, and then what he encountered and what turned and made everything bigger and broader and more important, which was the mission for clean water for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the wells is a big thing that he does. He told me he's so grateful for all the people that have donated wells. He's like, we've got more wells that have been donated than we have men to build them. And I'm like, yes, that's the best thing ever.
That's amazing.
He's like, we've got so many people supporting us. Let's build schools. Clean water is good. Let's give them education. And he's got, I think, 2 schools finished and a 3rd one being finished as well. And he wants me to do a mural at every one of them. So I'm grateful for Steve, definitely.
Zach, what is art to you?
Art is my life, man. That's like I said, at the core of everything I do. That's art. Art is everything. We're forced to look at art everywhere we go. This microphone was designed and developed by somebody. And this shirt was this crazy colored shirt. You know, like art to me is everything. I couldn't go a single day without it, and I feel lost. I feel like sick to my stomach when I don't have something to do or something to get done.
The word design often gets lumped in with the word art, but design it's kind of a different animal. What's your take on that word? The two words together and separate.
Good questions, man. Good questions.
That's what we do here.
I don't know.
You got off easy last time, buddy.
Yeah, definitely, right? We stuck to the bold points, but now we're going for the deep stuff, the philosophical stuff.
That's right.
What is design? What is life? No.
Design, those two words are, in certain factions of society, get intertwined.
Definitely. I mean, design is everything. I feel like art is the simple form of saying design. I feel like, I put a lot of effort into the design of the art that I make as much as I do as the image of making the art, you know, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know. I never thought of them as separate entities ever. Design and art, I feel like I learned 2D design, 3D design in college, and that made my art better. I feel like that's another tool in the belt. You need to have a good understanding of design and execute that understanding to make good art. At least that's what I look at my art as another tool belt to try, or another tool in the tool belt to try and make my art better.
Let me know your thoughts on this. I was told by an artist one time, it had to be 2 decades ago, where there was a conversation going on about the validity of art. And this artist made the comment that it really comes down to aesthetics, and the average person takes for granted art every day. Like here, we would sit and say, okay, what's design and beautiful aesthetics? You look at this microphone and this microphone stand and so forth. The way it's designed with smooth lines and curved metal tubes, that has been determined to be a more aesthetically beautiful way of building a microphone stand, as opposed to jagged edges and really something that looks obnoxious. So we're around beautiful aesthetics all the time, but we take them for granted. Does that make any sense to you?
Definitely. I guess a better way to say it would be like, both are subjective, but design and art, that's subjective, you know. It's different to every person, and people do take it for granted, you know. Think about it next time you're at the post office and you walk in the lobby and you see a giant mural on the wall. There's art there, you know. People don't see the art in everyday life, and it's always it gets overwashed by or overpowered by just the life going on around you, you know. Your phones, that's art, you know. Everything's art.
I think Apple makes no bones about it. They talk about how they want their products to be aesthetically pleasing, not what's inside not the actual content of what the phone brings to you, but the actual physical structure of the phone and their laptops and their desktop iMacs. Everything has to be aesthetically beautiful.
Definitely.
You know, so there's art in that, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it's also, like I keep saying, tool in the tool belt. It's a tool. Like, think about cavemen, you know, they worked on designing the perfect weapon, the perfect thing that's going to benefit their lives. We're just amplifying that in a modern time, you know, like the computer that we're talking through right now is the hammer of our day, or the pencil of our day, you know. Like, it's a little bit of human design and a little bit of a tool to help keep making more design, more art.
When you heard that we were going to be entering a stay-at-home phase, which I think was the first thing that the governor wanted us to do, where were you? What was going on? And how did you ingest that initially? Did you believe it? It's terrifying, dude. It was, you know, the whole first 2 weeks of this quarantine, I watched all the terrifying movies like A Day After Tomorrow. There's a ton that might not have been the best thing to do psychologically, right?
That's where my mind was. I thought that's what the state of the world was heading. I was like, I'm going to watch these movies and just soak up a little bit of what they did.
Okay.
You know, it was just more so, it was humorous as well. I was also trying to scare my fiance. You know, I was like, hey, let's watch this movie, you know, what's that? Pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
But I was really nervous, dude. The first week I had half of my events for the entire beginning of the year shut down and canceled. Right. So like, it was mass fear in my heart. I take my fiance to work every day, so I was on my way home from picking her up from work just thinking like, oh no, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, we're being told to stay home. Where's this going to lead? Money was the thing that came to mind. The banks, like, I had that same like realization, like, should I take my money out the bank? Should I put my stuff in my mattress? Like, I was thinking of how the world was in the early 1900s. It was all lining up to what the Great Depression was going to look like, and that's exactly where my head was at first. The first couple weeks I was like, oh man, just prepare.
So panic would be an appropriate word.
Strategic panic,
or maybe controlled panic.
Yeah, controlled panic.
Say that maybe.
Controlled panic. I was trying to keep my cool, to keep my fiance set like level, and I haven't even announced yet, but we are
do that right here.
Yeah, we're expecting a child, so
how about that?
October we have a baby coming, and that was the first thing on our mind. Thank you, I appreciate the applause though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So initially we're like, oh man, we can't be by people. She's since then back at work. Her office just opened this week, and it was a big concern. Like, oh my goodness, like, you are at a high risk now. We need to keep you safe. I need to stay calm and level so you can't freak out based off of my reaction. So there's a lot of new things that happened in our life all at once on top of this that have just had me really scared.
After a few weeks in, did you start to level out and start to get your bearings and, the word positive is kind of a hard word to use during a pandemic, but did you have a better feeling that we're going to get through this? Yes and no. I think it's still that same question's still up in the air right now, but I just, like I said earlier, I dove into my work. I just that's where my positivity went. I was trying to think of ways for me to stay busy, stay focused on something outside of what's going on in the world. I told you before we started filming, I don't even watch the news. Like, I listen to my Google Play tell me the minute of news in the morning every morning. I don't pay attention to the big details and the scariness that they force into you every day. The reality show they call news now.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I mean, the amount of times that like you hear them contradicting themselves or talking about this or talking about that, it's all been wrong the whole time. They've just been pushing the scariest outcomes just to terrify people. I ignored it, focused on the work, and then the Faceless series was a way to maybe put that same work in other people's. Like, now people were looking forward to seeing the next Faceless drawing. So they're getting theirs.
You use pandemic to your best ability. You use the time during the pandemic to grow your business, to be creative, and to do things.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the best things that happened with this for creatives, was like, wow, we were allotted the time we so desperately needed to get work done. Like, I haven't even officially said the full number, but I'm on my 98th digital drawing.
Wow.
Yeah, I did 98 of them so far this quarantine, this whole pandemic, and I've done 14 paintings since this all started too. So I have not stopped. Those are real numbers. You can go back on my Instagram and count them up because the photos are there. But I have not stopped, man. I've been going till 3, 4 in the morning. That's why I was telling you before we started, dude. You're always awake, and I know that because I'm always awake. I'll see you posting something at 3 in the morning, and I'm like ready to comment and say, hey, what's going on?
For years, people would say, are you a vampire? And I said, well, I do hang in the basement upside down. I get blood rushes to my head. I can only do it for about 20 minutes, and I got to put myself, correct again. But yeah, I get it. Do you feel compelled? I find it hard to sleep at times because my mind is going 24/7. Usually with good stuff, creative ideas, things I want to do or maybe want to explore. And there's that 20%. Sometimes when there's something bad in your life, you kind of dwell on that too. But for the most part, it's really about ideas. And it's hard for me to sleep. That's why you'll probably see me up quite a bit online.
Yep.
It's just the creative part of my brain just doesn't shut off.
That's the best way to put it, man. I'm the same way. I'll be laying in bed. I'm sure it's probably happened to you. I'll be in bed at like 12:30, 1:30, 2:30 in the morning, and I'm just like, oh man, the best idea of all time just struck right now. I got to go get my sketchbook. I got to get a pen and paper and write it down. I got to just do it right now.
So true, man. So true. My friend, this has been great.
I've loved this conversation, man. You're so easy to talk to, and I can go on for hours.
Well, you're a hell of a conversationalist, but you're even a more impressive artist. I personally will tell you, I've been blessed on this show. James Simon, Mia Tarducci, wonderful artists, all both different and unique.
Yeah, Tom McGallis, come on.
And Tom's coming back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tom's coming back, right, Tom? But all of you bring something very unique to the table, and I want to thank you because when I started this show, one of the concerns I had was that I did not have a real good feel or really any connections into the more cultural portion of Pittsburgh society. I did not.
Wow.
With me, I reached out cold. I knew Chris. Chris introduced me to you. With James Simon, I reached out cold. With Tom McGallis, I reached out cold. All of you to this point have been very receptive to the show and have been big supporters of the show, and thus appearing has helped the show, and I want to thank you for that. But also giving me the opportunity to dive into sometimes what can be considered very personal for an artist to reveal not just their work, but their thoughts on the work. And you've been very open with me on this show, and I want to thank you very much, as Mia has, as Tom has, and as James has as well. So I appreciate it very much.
Such kind words, man. And all those artists are phenomenal as well. So
and I love the art aspect of it because everybody's coming at it from a different standpoint. Like James Simon's story, for those who don't know, is a tremendous artist here in Pittsburgh, done monumental work, a big work too, sculpture work. And to hear his story, his life story about the travel and growing up in the 70s and just being, and then living, in Brazil for a while and Europe, and that tapestry of experience, very similar on a smaller scale with you, but that travel helps shape you, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
The travel you do as an artist, I would imagine, influences and just the learning tenacity, right? Human tenacity. That
Absolutely.
has to help, right?
I mean, traveling shows you the similarities and the difference to the rest of the world. Like, I think that's one thing that leveled me out and made me so to work with people, was I've been to places where I've seen different people and people that don't live the way that we do. And that's huge, man. Like, people that don't travel are missing out on a whole opportunity to get closer to the rest of the world.
And you're going to do some traveling to Ghana here in an effort to help those beautiful kids.
I hope it happens in 2020. I hope we get there before 2020 ends.
Good. It could. It could.
know.
But I commend you for doing that as well, too. And I hope that the next time you're back on this show won't be too long. And there's a chance, hopefully, Dr. Steve will be with you. But if not, you're always welcome here. Whether it's a new campaign, whether it's a new video series, whatever, you have an open seat here, my friend, anytime you want.
I appreciate it, man. I love this platform that you've built, and I'm happy that you give artists and creatives in the city a place to talk about what they've got going on and spread their messages. You know?
They're some of the most fun shows for me, and for a field that I was very uncertain reaching out to initially because it wasn't my strong suit. I'm more of a business person.
I disagree, man. You're an artist, dude. You made guitars, you built this platform. You're a creative just as much as I am.
I try my hardest, but I still, as I told Mia, I envy all of you for being able to see in your head and articulate that. It's amazing to me, and don't ever stop doing what you're doing because you're very talented, buddy.
Thank you. Hey, if I ever stopped doing it, I think I would die. My heart would stop. There's no way I could do this without. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is what makes me go and makes me smile. So
okay, so it's give us the platforms to reach you. First, your website.
Okay, we're about to list off 15 things.
We're going to do it right now. Here we go.
All right,
Get your pencils ready.
The website will take you anywhere that I have anything
That's
going on.
the main portal.
Yeah, ZacharyRutterArt.com. Just Google Zachary Rutter Art. You'll find it, ZacharyRutterArt.com. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Zachary Rutter Art. You'll find everything I got going on. Studio Time with Zach on my YouTube channel.
Studio Time with Zach.
Yep. Studio Friendship on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So
and that's local music artists coming in doing 2 songs while you do a live painting.
Yep. We call it a mix of Bob Ross meets NPR's Tiny Desk or like
nice.
MTV Unplugged. So it's like Acoustic Hour meets Bob Ross painting to set up. So
awesome.
Yeah, I could talk about that. We could do a whole show on Studio Friendship. I could even invite my videograpor Benton to come and help with that.
That'll be
as
the
well.
next one.
That would be
the next
that
one.
would be really, really fun to do too. So
and they can reach you there. So, but Zachary, I'm kind of confused. So the website itself is the main portal that takes you to all the social media, correct?
Yeah, there's
they can
links
reach
to
you
everything.
through social media too. They just type in your name on social media.
Zachary Rutter Art. You'll find me.
All right, fair enough. Did you have a good time?
Had a great time, man. Always.
All right, so come back soon.
Absolutely.
All right, friends. Zachary Rutter, Zachary Rutter Art. Google him.
Thank you.
Good
please.
stuff. Order something off this fair, guys. Amazing. Friends, we are out.
All right.
Good time?
Oh yeah, man, that was great.
Go well? Did you get everything out?
Yeah.